Happy full moon and lunar eclipse in Libra. The full moon at 5 degrees of Libra became exact this morning at 3 a.m. New York time, which was 0700 Greenwich Mean Time. This South Node Lunar Eclipse peaked slightly after that at 3:12 a.m. New York time, which was 7:12 Greenwich Mean Time. Lunar eclipses always coincide with full moons. A lunar eclipse is like a supercharged full moon. It sets the stage for the next 6 months. It's a good idea to set intentions for the next 6 months a few days after the eclipse has passed. This is an especially powerful time for intention setting, as we have just surpassed the astrological new year, which was March 19th and 20th during the equinox. During eclipse season, we receive energetic downloads, we could call these codes, that serve to unravel what we no longer need to carry with us, while also redirecting us in the direction of our highest destiny in this life. Eclipse season is an unsettled time when everything is undergoing recalibration. It is an uncertain time, and it is certainly a time to expect the unexpected. This is a South Node eclipse occurring on the South Lunar Node. South Node eclipses have to do with alchemizing the karma and energetic baggage that we are carrying so that we can move forward freely into our highest destiny here on Earth. Often the codes that are downloaded to us during a South Node eclipse end up initiating the necessary changes that we need in order to be energetically free to move into that highest destiny. Since Libra, being the ruler of the 7th house, has to do with relationships, including partnerships, the codes downloaded now can end up initiating changes in how our most important relationships fit into our lives. Libra is the cardinal air sign. A cardinal sign signals the beginning of a season. Libra is in charge of welcoming in autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern. As tropical astrology was created to align the stars with the northern hemisphere seasons, it makes sense that autumn is ruled by an air sign, with the leaves flying through the air and the wind blowing, foretelling the return of winter. Libra is a cardinal air sign represented by the glyph of scales, demonstrating the need for balance and harmony as one of the irreplaceable facets of a healthy life. Libra is also the sign of justice, ruling over all things related to justice, fairness, and the law. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love and relationships. We are feeling a very harmonious energy right now with this Libra eclipse, plus a 4-planet stellium in soft, creative, artistic, intuitive, and kind Pisces. Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Neptune are all in this water sign. It is also a highly intuitive time due to it being an eclipse season and the Pisces stellium. Listen to your dreams and intuition at this time. Pisces causes us to feel our emotions intensely, and with Mercury having entered its pre-retrograde shadow phase in Aries, more on this later, we're feeling the need to express ourselves authentically. There may be a lot of arguments over the next 2 weeks, especially within romantic and familial relationships, and more on this in the next section. Over the next 2 weeks, we have the opportunity to find the balance, the middle ground, between the two polar opposites of Libra and Aries. Libra is the 7th house, the descendant, the sunset, the DC, while Aries is the 1st house, the ascendant, the sunrise, the AC. Gives new meaning to the band AC/DC, doesn't it, when you understand astrology? Let me know if that made you laugh. Comment below, please. Libra says, how can I help you? While Aries says, my way or the highway. And we're trying to find a balance between those two extremes. With the moon trining and the sun sextiling Pluto in group-oriented Aquarius, we are leaning towards wanting to do what's best for others rather than to be selfish. However, with Mercury having entered its pre-retrograde shadow phase in Aries, which is a real fiery sign, we are also feeling the need to assert ourselves, and more on that later in this podcast. Here are some good journaling questions to help you negotiate this delicate balance between Libra and Aries. And if you go to the pinned comment below, if you're listening here on the YouTube on the Higher Self channel, right below the description box, there's a link to the article version of this podcast. It has all the journal questions for you written out, so you can just access them there. Or, of course, just pause the video or the podcast between each question. What can I do that would help harmonize the relationships I care most about without unnecessarily sacrificing myself? How does the support of my loved ones carry me forward in really important ways? In what ways am I codependent with my loved ones? And how does that hold me back? What am I lacking that causes the codependency? Is it courage? Is it trust in myself? If being my true authentic self was the most important thing I could do for myself, who would stick with me? Who would fall by the wayside? Is it okay to let relationships melt away if they are no longer aligned with my highest good? How can I be a better leader of others when the time and place is for that? What is holding me back from fully believing in myself? How would letting go of fear help me in being a leader of my own life and of others when it's the time and place? Healing family and romantic relationships. This is a make or break type energy for relationships, especially romantic ones. The relationships that are in a good place will get much closer during this time. Those relationships that are on rocky ground will start heading or accelerate their heading toward a separation due to these intense energies. Or for those relationships that may be headed for an expiration date, take a look at the eclipse calendar, because October we have the last Libra eclipse in this Libra eclipse series, and between now and then could be the timing as to when these types of relationships that are have reached their conclusion are going to actually reach their conclusion in the 3D world. One of the most fascinating parts of my work, my service work, is that I have the ability, and I can always do it for you, sign up for Ascending as One, get a reading, to read the karmic ties between two people. You can be assured that almost always those people in your life with whom you have had the most complicated relationships, think family members, close friends, or romantic lovers, are people that you've known in past lives, and often they're in your soul group. Sometimes they're even your karmic twin in your soul group, which means you're right next to them in your soul group, and you plan out the most difficult lifetimes, the most difficult lessons between you two because you know each other so well. You see, souls like to dress up and play different characters in each other's plays. For example, your mother may have been your brother in another lifetime. Your husband may have been your daughter. Souls who know each other well often incarnate with each other over and over. And the souls you know very well, as I said, could be in your soul group, or if not, in your monadic group of 144. When two souls that know each other quite well dress up as different characters and have different relationships between each other in a series of lifetimes, karma is accumulated between the two souls. In this context, think of karma as a log of every word spoken and every experience shared between two souls when they're incarnated at the same time on Earth. Your history with your current boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, or dad likely goes much deeper than just what you can remember from your current lifetime. The natural trajectory of all things is balance and resolution. This is what Libra teaches, and it is no different in this case. Each soul desires to resolve any past negative karma with other souls. Sometimes it is planned for the resolution to happen in this lifetime, but sometimes not. And it can be really difficult when it's not, because then the lesson becomes separation and distance. Sometimes the resolution may be planned for a subsequent lifetime, or for after one or both the souls has left their physical body and is on the other side. As light workers, we naturally want to resolve everything. We generally carry a deep down aversion to people being mad at us or disappointed in us. Light workers tend to be martyrs and people pleasers rather than narcissists. However, although the natural trajectory of all karmic relationships is complete resolution, it may not always be the right time for that to happen. One of the most difficult lessons for many light workers is to learn when to walk away or to cut someone out of their lives. Please receive these words clearly, but with compassion. You are under no obligation to continue to receive someone's abuse or negative energy simply because they are your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, son, daughter, mother, father, friend, or coworker. You have complete free will to cut anyone out of your life at any time if you feel so inclined. I know this is not an easy thing to talk about at all, but you are likewise under no obligation to continue to be emotionally and energetically drained by someone, no matter your history with them. I realize that sometimes it's not practical or even possible to completely cut someone out of your life, or you may not want to or be ready to, but in many instances the solution may be to keep some geographical distance between you and that person, or to just interact with that person less often. You don't have to pick up the phone every time someone calls. You don't have to respond to every text. You don't have to hang out with a person just because they're feeling sad or they want to complain about their relationship. You don't have to tolerate being drained. And of course, there are relationships you want to keep. You don't want to avoid the other person, but there's just some difficulties that need to be worked through. With Venus and soft Pisces sextiling Jupiter and Taurus, it's a very supportive energy for harmony in relationships, especially romantic. Listening to someone else deeply and fully is one of the best gifts you can give to them. Practicing listening without immediately inputting your opinion is a wonderful, wonderful, way to get better at listening and harmonize your relationships. Letting someone just let out everything they need to say so they feel fully heard without putting in any input until they're done speaking. Try that over the next couple weeks when someone is pouring their heart out to you. Just let them speak. Usually when people feel listened to, they'll be more apt to listen better to what you have to say. The Libra energies support a healthy back and forth dialogue. With Pluto's benevolent influence, it's a wonderful time to heal perceived issues of misuse of power that may have gone on between two people, especially in families and partnerships, and to establish a more commensurate balance of power between you and others that can cultivate a healthy relationship for both you and the other into the future. As Libra rules the house of partnerships, the seventh is also very much has to do with romantic relationships. Unquestionably, the one factor that differentiates successful, harmonious, long-lasting romantic relationships from those that come and go with frustration is effective communication. When things are left unsaid between lovers, or when what is said is vague and unclear, it builds up tension in both parties. Even the most unintuitive person can sense that something is amiss when a lover isn't telling them something that's important. There are cases, where people stay married for decades while still holding back from telling their partner their true feelings. Oftentimes, people get into a long-term relationship and things become familiar. They end up literally becoming afraid of what life would be like without their partner. They may wish their partner would radically change, or deep down they may wish they had the courage to walk away, but they realize that these endeavors, or they believe these endeavors, would be futile. Afraid to leave the marriage, they just bottle up the resentment inside. It's sad when that happens, but it's very common. The type of resentment, that we're talking about here can even manifest itself as cancer, God forbid, years down the line if the feelings are not dealt with and the necessary difficult conversations are not had. If we really want to build fifth-dimensional partnerships, the most important facet is open communication. When the communication is open from the start, it is a lot less likely that one partner will feel afraid to bring something up to the other later in the relationship. If you've been in a relationship for a while where the energy feels stagnant and you feel like there's a lot that is left unsaid, one helpful tip is to plan an excursion out in public and plan to have a difficult conversation there, or go on a walk with your partner. Get out of the house. It's very helpful to change the environment if you need to have a difficult conversation. Of course, the truth is that sometimes a relationship, whether romantic or familial, is irreparable, at least for the time being. Sometimes a relationship does require a period of separation before two people can really come back and repair what has been damaged. Or sometimes a relationship needs to reach its conclusion and the karmic issues will need to be worked out when, later on when the two people are in different stages of life, or even in future lifetimes, the dream space or afterlife realms. I'd like to offer you the opportunity to really dig deep into this crucial work of healing and alchemizing relationships. I want you to email me if you want this. It's youaredivinehuman@gmail.com. youaredivinehuman@gmail.com. My email is in the pinned comment below the description box for a copy of my Healing Your Relationships Ascending as One class for just $33. Mercury retrograde in Aries. Mercury has entered its pre-shadow retrograde shadow phase in fiery Aries. We are speaking our truths passionately at this time. After the first quarter of 2024 featured all planets and Chiron in direct motion, we finally have a retrograde occurring. We will naturally be checking in with and catching up with people from our past and having honest and impassioned conversations. As I said before, arguments can happen easily around this time due to the Aries energy, so practice being a great listener and remember that there's a time and place for getting emotional. That being said, some relationships will need honest discourse, as I discussed earlier. This Mercury retrograde in Aries is a great opportunity to readdress projects and to-do lists from the past. What are some things that you had put on the back burner that you can give some time and attention to now? And think about that right now and jot down a few notes on your phone or in your journal. What are, during this retrograde or during April, what can you get back to that you had to put aside? As with any Mercury retrograde, communication issues will abound. Travel schedules will likely go awry. Expect a lot of reschedulings in general. And by the way, if you're born under Mercury retrograde, it's not going to affect you as strongly. And in fact, you might even feel more at home during this time. Here's some general advice for navigating a Mercury retrograde period. Make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, so to speak, when signing any contracts. Consider Murphy's Law during Mercury retrograde. What can go wrong will go wrong. Consider holding off on signing contracts until May if it's something that isn't time sensitive. Be extra clear in your communication with others. Give others more leeway than usual. Inquire to clarify what someone means by something if you're unsure, especially if it's via text message or email. Avoid purchasing big-ticket items like a new car until May if possible. Back up all of your computer files on your smartphone. Triple-check travel plans and appointment times. Verify times with others. Release expectations of others, especially when it comes to people responding in a timely fashion. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Expectations of others may go unfulfilled. And as always, use Mercury retrograde as a time to refine your communication rather than to be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of miscommunications or electronics breaking down or travel plans getting interrupted. Just embrace it. This Mercury retrograde phase officially begins on April 1st when Mercury stations retrograde. There's an April Fool's Day for you. It officially concludes on April 25th. The most potent effects are felt in the 7 days before and after the station phases. So here's the most potent times that Mercury is going to affect you. March 25th through April 8th, and then again April 18th through May 2nd. Wishing you a happy eclipse and full moon in Libra. With love, this is Matthew John. Do me a favor before you go, if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment below. Let me know how are you feeling around this eclipse. The energies have been very intense. There have been a lot of solar flares and geomagnetic activity around this eclipse as well. A lot of people are feeling tired and run down. Make sure you drink lots of water, get lots of rest. But let me know how you're feeling, and let me know how you're feeling, especially around the topic of relationships. And also the Mercury retrograde. Are you looking forward to it or are you not? Most people aren't looking forward to it. But of course, there's always positives with Mercury retrograde. And check out all my links. They're in the description box or below the description box, the pinned comment here on the Higher Self channel. It's got the link to my website, my Instagram, my email. And also, I have a very exciting thing coming up. So I have 2 retreats coming up this year. Our Mount Shasta retreat is almost sold out, but I still do have space. That's May 15th through 19th, and you can save 20% if you first enroll in Ascending as One. All that information is on my website. Go to the Courses, Events, and Retreats page. And my Light on the Hill retreat is in September, and I have a 30% off early bird special across the board. You do not have to be an Ascending as One member to get that discount. You just need to get it in time, and the deadline is April 1st. Hard deadline April 1st at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. You just need to put down a $500 deposit. So in the pinned comment, okay, go to my YouTube channel. Click the link to go to my YouTube channel. Watch the preview video on the Light on the Hill retreat. I can guarantee you that watching it, you're going to want to go. And then when you look at the prices for the retreat, you're going to be like, wow, is that right? That's all it is for a full, all-inclusive 4-day, 3-night retreat? Yeah. I keep my prices very reasonable versus my competitors. It's one of the things people love about me is that I do keep my prices reasonable. So this retreat is going to sell out eventually, I am anticipating. But for now, I have a lot of space because it's not till September. And if you get in now, you get that 30% off early bird rate. $500 totally refundable deposit. If your plans change for any reason, I'm happy to refund you. It's no obligation. It's a no obligation deposit. And also, I'm happy to do free phone consultations if you're interested in the retreat, but you have some questions or concerns. just email me, youaredivinehuman@gmail.com, youaredivinehuman@gmail.com, and I'm happy to set up a totally free phone consultation. We can go over any of the retreats, Mount Shasta, the Light on the Hill one, which I'm talking about right now, Sedona or Peru, and Sedona and Peru are next year. So email me if you want to talk about the retreat. I'm happy to spend time over the phone or Skype or Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever with you talking about the retreat. Also, Ascending as One is active in April. Okay, we do have Ascending as One in April. We have Healing Your Throat Chakra, Connecting with Lemuria, How to Do Shamanic Drumming and Syrian Channeling, and then Nutrition for Ascension. So it's going to be a really diverse and great month of Ascending as One. If you don't know about Ascending as One is my signature group mentorship program. We meet on the weekends, usually Sundays, but there's some Saturday calls as well. And these are 3-hour, very informative, very intensive, very healing calls. The first hour is an in-depth astrology section where I go way more in depth than I do on these podcasts, and I go into the day-to-day of what the moon is doing. When does it go void of course? When is it aspecting Jupiter and Saturn and all the planets? So you get to figure out how to plan out your every day for the week to come, and I answer all your astrology questions on the call as well. Sometimes I even look at people's natal charts. Then for the second and third hour, we do the topic for the week. So coming up April 14th, healing your throat chakra, right? A lot of you, and this is one of the themes of this eclipse season, is the throat chakra, right? With Aries, the sun being in Aries and Mercury being retrograde in Aries, right? Trying to balance that with Libra. So the throat chakra is definitely on the agenda, and we're going to work on that as a group. And when we do group activations and healings on Ascending as One, they're super powerful, because anytime we do something as a group, this is the principle of Pluto and Aquarius, it's more powerful, right, than doing it on your own a lot of times, right? And these are really powerful activations in Ascending as One. So all the information for Ascending as One is on my website. We also do EFT tapping and readings on every call. It's a great value for all you get. If you do VIP, you get 12 hours of live instruction with me, plus 9 hours of recorded content, 21 hours in total, plus a private reading with me. VIP tier gets you a private reading with me, a 20-minute private reading where you can ask me literally anything. I can read your soul contracts. I can read whether you're a starseed or not and where you're from. I can read, what's coming up in your path, what to expect coming up in your life. I can read anything for you. So if you sign up for VIP, you do get that private reading with me. And on my calendar right now, it will say sold out for all readings until May, but I will squeeze you in April if you purchase Ascending as One VIP. And as I said, if you're thinking about Mount Shasta, get Ascending as One VIP, because you'll then save 20% on Mount Shasta. All my other events upcoming are on the course events and retreats page, including I will be at the Heart of Oneness Holistic Expo in Edison, New Jersey, April 5th, 6th, and 7th. And also I will be doing an Instagram Live Eclipse live stream on April 8th from 1:30 to 4. So the information on those are on that courses, events, and retreats page as well. Again, if you're listening on the Higher Self channel, just go to the pinned comment below the description box, and the links are there. Or if you're listening on any other podcast platform, just go to youaredivinehuman.org, all spelled out, youaredivinehuman.org. And remember, you can also always email me at youaredivinehuman@gmail.com. That's youaredivinehuman@gmail.com. All right, everyone, it's been such a pleasure. Wishing you a happy eclipse, wishing you a happy full moon. I look forward to speaking to you on the upcoming new moon and solar eclipse in Aries, which will be in 2 weeks, and that'll be the Great American Eclipse. And as I said, I'll be doing a fun Instagram live on Eclipse Day as well, because I am in the path of totality in Rochester, New York. It comes right over our head. In fact, like literally hundreds of thousands of people, maybe up to 1 million people, are descending on Rochester. It's like the biggest tourist attraction our city's ever had. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But I will be there, and I'll be broadcasting live for you on Instagram. So until then, of course, I also have a podcast for you in the days before that eclipse here on Higher Self and whatever podcast platform you find me on. So until then, everyone, please remember to be kind to yourself, to be kind to others, to be kind to animals, and to be kind to the earth. With love, this is Matthew John.